number 2 next to I don't know who, but it looks like I must have had fun. I make 10K a day, I don't show up, they still pay. It's good to be the president's son. Hey, you call that a powdered wig? That's a powdered wig. Oh, I take out my laptop. Then I lose my laptop. Then I get another laptop. Hey, wait a minute. Low balance alert. Guess I'll have to get a bridge loan from my dad. It's good to be the president's son. Wait, are you dead?
First of all, let's get one thing straight. Crack is cheap. I make too much money to ever smoke crack. Let's get that straight, okay? We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.
Well, I mean, it is whack, people. You can't argue with that. Good damn afternoon. Jericho Green here with you once again. Give me a follow on X. Subscribe to this channel if you are not already, or if you were subscribing and YouTube unsubscribed you because make sure you double check that and like and subscribe to my new channel, Green's House. Now, this is my first show post Thanksgiving. I've been sick the past few days. Started on Thanksgiving. I couldn't even taste the food. How terrible is that on Thanksgiving? That's food day. But it was great. Other than that, one of the best Thanksgivings ever. I hope you guys had the same. Let me know in the comments if any of you weren't invited to Thanksgiving dinner or some family function this past weekend because you motherfucker. Let me know if somebody didn't show up to your house who was invited because you had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to vote for that 34-time felon. I hope that happened, and I hope that you guys cuss them out top to bottom, front to back, inside and out. But as you know by now, Sloppy Joe, the 46th president of, it tasted gross to say, but he has pardoned his crack-smoking, child-neglecting, tax-evading son. And he pardoned him all the way back 11 years, basically to 2014. Why way back there? What was he doing? Who was he getting paid tens of thousands of dollars a month to work for at a job that he knew nothing about? You remember his dad being over there saying, if you don't get that prosecutor off the case, you're not going to get the $1.5 billion. Forget that, guys. Those are what we call facts. You don't need to be concerned with those. But you see the title, and it always upsets my stomach. It makes me want to shit my pants when I have to listen to those barren, powdered egg-having whoas at The View. But today's one of those days, and I'm not going to suffer through it myself. That's why I got clips, so you can suffer through it with me. Misery loves company, and this is definitely going to be miserable. Let's get the shit out of the way. This is the beginning of the show today where Whoopi, what a stupid name. Anyway, this is what they had to say about Sloppy Joe pardoning his son. And of course, you know, the rest of the show was a shit on Trump fest.
Throughout his term as president, Joe Biden was persistently asked about whether he would intervene in the court case against his son, Hunter. Take a look.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Yesterday, Biden had a change of heart, granting his son a full pardon on tax evasion and federal gun charges. He released a statement that, quote, says no reasonable person who looks at the facts can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he is my son. That is wrong, and there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Now, I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. So the question is, will people understand? Listen, I get it. I mean, we got a convicted felon as president.
Yes. Yes.
It's hard for me to.
Yes.
Say it. Say it. Yes. I get it. We have a convicted felon as president. I told you they can't avoid it. They can't avoid shitting on Trump. Trump is everything to them. And I hope it leaves a nasty taste in their mouth, if they can even recognize the taste, because I'm sure those women have a lot of nasty tastes in their mouth. But I hope it pains them in some way to know that the person they hate most is who they need for their very existence. Because what in the fuck are they going to talk about? Now, later, you'll hear Sonny Hawson, who's probably the worst of all of them. We'll talk about, who's been saying these things. So, of course, since they've been saying them, it must be true. If it comes out of the mouths of certain people, you have to take it as gospel. Now, of course, as a parent, you understand why somebody would pardon their child if there were a real miscarriage of justice. And I don't think we would have as big of a problem with it, except the fact that his child is guilty of that. And number two, not only you, Sloppy Joe, but your cohorts, like these four whores of the apocalypse known as The View, and Corinne Jean-Pierre, or as I call her, Chocolate Patty. You heard her in the beginning of that clip saying that it's no. Are you going to pardon your son? No. Remember when he said, Hunter's one of the most decent people that I know. When's the last time you knew of a decent crackhead? But you and a bunch of other people, a bunch of other arms of this machine, this octopus who has their tentacles and everything, you've all been telling us, no, I'm not going to do it. Is the president going to do it? No, he's not going to do it. As she wipes vagina juice off of her face. No, he's not going to do it. Talking heads. No, he's not going to do it. And then we wake up this morning and he did it. And they say, well, it's not a lie. When you knowingly say something that's not true, that's called a lie. And he knew that. They all knew that. You had every intention of pardoning Hunter Biden from the get-go. And speaking of, the clip that I played in the beginning, this is probably going to get flagged for copyright infringement. I don't give a shit. I couldn't pass up that clip. But it's good to be the president's son. That's the dude. I've used clips of his before because he does great impressions of Sloppy Joe and his son. But it's Kyle Dunnigan, stand-up comedian. Check him out. Dude's hilarious. But that's a video that he did. And that's basically what it is. You've seen the movies, especially from the 80s, where the guy's wearing like the shirt with the little crocodile on it and the collar's flipped up. Oh, Daddy, this is Daddy's ski chalet. Daddy, do you know who my daddy is? This is real life. Do you know who my daddy is? Playing out. How many images have you seen of Hunter Biden smoking crack? How many videos have you seen of him smoking crack? No, think in your family. We all got a crackhead in our family. It might be actual crack. It might be meth, same effect, no teeth, a lot of dick sucking. You're filthy. Think of the crackheads in your family. Would you ever describe them as decent? It brings two stories to mind. I'm trying to tell you a story. When I was a young man, I was working construction, and there was this dude named Tim. Tim was an avid crack smoker. Every day, he was sucking on a glass pipe. And every Friday, we got paid. So what does that mean? Who did we not see every Monday at work? You get paid on Friday afternoon. Who do we never see at work on Monday because they were getting their crack on? Tim. So one day, somebody said the two of the words that is always followed by some crazy shit. Watch this. And he goes up to Tim and he says, Tim, I'll give you $10 if you throw up in that bowl and then drink it. What does Tim do every day, guys? What does Tim do avidly? He smokes crack. So when you offer a crackhead $10, you might as well offer them 10,000 because Tim said no problem. So Tim sticks his fingers down his throat, throws up maybe a cup worth of liquid. Sorry if you're eating, it's only going to get worse. So if you need to pause or fast forward, I understand. Tim throws up in the bowl. And of course, what do crackheads not do very often? They don't eat. So Tim's stomach wasn't full of food. There was like some bile, maybe the same content, maybe the same stomach acid levels of a Komodo dragon. Like if you dropped a piece of meat in there, it would probably dissolve. So Tim pukes in the bowl, drinks it back, and then grabs his $10 and rides off into the crackhead sunset. Another time, I was in my home state. I was born, I know I live in California now, but I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, Hines County General Hospital. And I was down there visiting family. This is years ago. I must have been like 17 years old. And we were at a gas station. And I was going out with my older cousins and my brother-in-law. So there was some, oh yeah, he's with us. He's over 21 that night. Sorry, Mom. So we're at a gas station. They're going inside the gas station to get something. I'm sitting in the back of the car. And of course, here comes a crackhead right in front of the car in the headlights. So I see him. This fool takes crack out, sprinkles it in his hand, his bare hand. There's no special crack smoking glove that he has on. It's just his skin, which I'm sure is just as tough. I'm sure crackhead skin is pretty tough. I'm sure crackhead skin will put an alligators to shame. So this fool pours, I don't know how many crack rocks into his hand, lights a lighter, waves the flame over the crack until it starts smoking, and then he sucks the smoke up into his mouth. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what a crackhead. That doesn't even work. Yes, it does, because he started coughing right after, so apparently he inhaled enough crack smoke. This is who we're dealing with. Crack is not something you smoke at night when you get home from work like a six-pack, and then you're all put together the next day. That crack is going to take an effect. So this crackhead is out here not paying his taxes and buying guns illegally because he lied on the application. Now, Sonny, take it away, you piece of garbage.
This is why people don't trust Washington. That's why they don't trust politicians. And I know a lot of us like Joe Biden, but I find it disappointing and bad for our institutions.
Well, look, I think sometimes, unfortunately, in this country, there are two sets of justice, right? I, too, have many family members convicted of felonies, marijuana, related to marijuana. They haven't been able to get positions in certain places. They haven't even been able to get housing in certain places. When I applied to be a federal prosecutor, there was a checkbox. If you're a felon, explain the circumstances, and you were more than likely not to get that. Now, as Whoopi said, that we have a convicted felon in the White House, those questions should not be asked of anyone, anytime, anywhere. That is the bottom line.
Ugh, I'm so sick of this. The willful ignorance. You know damn good and well that the charges brought against Trump were bullshit. You hear people like them talking. If you didn't know better, you would think that they had 34 bona fide separate felony charges against Trump. This guy is a world-class piece of shit. 34 felonies? But in reality, each felony was like a piece of paperwork. So it wasn't a separate crime that he planned and concocted and executed. It was paperwork. What billionaire do you know who's doing his own paperwork? That's where the 34 felonies came from. It's a bunch of horse shit. It was lawfare, as they say. It was a witch hunt. And you know that. You know that. That's why it pains you. That's why when Sunny Hostin had to sit there and correct herself because the legal team gave her office a call and she had to sit there and fix her face, you could see the anger in her face. You can see her RBF, her resting bitch face. Why? Because they know they're wrong and they know they're lying. And when they got to correct that shit, they're pissed. You know those 34 felony charges were complete bullshit. But they say it as though, man, this guy 34, like we're just stupid. Like we just don't care about the rule of law. We don't even care. We're just so blinded by Trump supporters. Well, guess what, dummy? I guess the whole country's a bunch of Trump supporters because damn near everybody supported Trump. Let me see if I can find something real quick. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Speaking of Sloppy Joe, his sloppiness, this is what he wrote. Now, of course, did he really write it, or did somebody hold his shaky hand like Ghost and hit the letters? I don't know. But that right there says no one is above the law. No one. No one. That means nobody. Pick somebody. Them, not them. Nobody. But I think he left out his son. Because after telling us for years that he wasn't going to do it, he did it. Yeah, as a parent, but I understand that. But as a parent, sometimes you have to let your kid face the consequences of what they did. And let's be honest, what kind of time was Hunter Biden going to do, if any? And if he did, what kind of time was that? You think it's going to be like Shawshank? You think the sisters, what was that group called that kept taking Andy Dufresne's manhood? You think that's going to happen to Hunter Biden? He's going to be in Gen Pop. He'd be in some cushy federal prison if he wasn't on house arrest in some mansion somewhere that we paid for. Or was your son into some shit that you knew would come out and he'd be serving a lot more time than that? Were the tax evasion charges and the gun application charge, was that just the tip of the iceberg? Are we going to get into that Ukraine money laundering Solyndra bullshit? Is that the real problem? Is that why you had to take it all the way back to 2013, 2014? That's what it is. That's what's really going on, you piece of shit. It's not about no stupid tax evasion or no stupid gun application. There are bigger things at stake here. This goes into the Obama administration. Can't have these people paying for their crimes. You got to handle all that shit before you get out of office on January 20th. You crook. You're a criminal. Lied to your faces. And how do you think the average, I don't know, Democrat, Biden supporter, are those real people? Are there real Biden supporters out there? But people who support the Democrat Party, how do you think they feel about that? Is this going to be, I mean, of course, the extremes where nothing that the Democrats do would ever shake them, or the ones who are more sensible. How does this make you feel? Knowing that they lied to your face. Speaking of lies, who's better?
No U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts that have been investigated for 5 years. Less than, get this, 0.09% of people are indicted, prosecuted, charged, and found guilty of lying on a gun form. The only reason that Hunter Biden was gone after and charged, indicted, and found guilty was because his name wasn't Joe Smith, it was Hunter Biden. And that's the truth of it. You've got Eric Holder saying it, you've got former prosecutors like myself saying it. So,
Why
you know,
didn't he admit
it's,
it?
Wait.
I think one of the reasons why he didn't admit it earlier was because he didn't know that the felon in chief would become the next president.
Oh, the felon in chief. There we go. Back to Trump. Of course, what are you talking about? Because his last name is Biden, that's why he was prosecuted? That's probably what saved him from being prosecuted on more charges. You have everybody backing the Democrat Party. How was Hunter Biden treated unfairly? And because Eric Holder and you say it's wrong? You mean Eric Holder, the same dude who was probably handing P. Diddy a bottle of drug baby oil to use on Obama? Take it easy back there, P. Diddy Combs. Because if you stretch out my butthole, Big Mike's going to find out and we're all in trouble. That Eric Holder? Oh, Eric Holder and Sonny Hostin, one of the 4 whores of the apocalypse on The View, said that that's why he was prosecuted. Okay, well, pack it up. They said so. Man, get out of here with that shit. I don't care what they say. What do you say? I'm going to meet you in the comments. Is this just the beginning? Does Sloppy Joe have more pardons up his wrinkly, liver-spotted, shaky sleeve? I guess we're going to find out. But no matter what, you better listen to her.
First of all, let's get one thing straight. Crack is cheap. I make too much money to ever smoke crack. Let's get that straight, okay? We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.